Hey everyone, Chris and Paul. We're back. We are back on the Insight session. Back on the wagon. Is that what you say? On the wagon, off the wagon. We took a bit of time off, as we said in our previous session, but we are back and we're trying to punch out a few of these sessions to bring chat through a few things that we sort of see popping up in our agency with our clients, sort of out in the world. Sort of kind of wrap on those things for 10, 15 minutes here and hopefully bring some value and give you some insights into ways you can grow your business, particularly in the times that we see ourselves in. And today, one of the things that we've been seeing quite consistently, particularly lately with our client base and a lot of e-commerce businesses and a lot of, if you're in our Shopify group, you see we do a lot of web audits, a lot of website audits. And one of the big things that comes out of that is that a lot of businesses are lacking any kind of brand strategy behind what they're doing. And that becomes really evident in targeting. Like a lot of websites just aren't targeted at a specific avatar trying to solve a specific solution. They kind of talk around a whole bunch of stuff. They're very, very, they can kind of be pretty generic and pretty broad. And we see this from ASX listed companies right the way down to mom and pop butcher shops. So it's something that does affect all types of businesses, but not having a brand strategy. What does that actually mean? If you don't have that brand strategy, your messaging on your website and in your marketing can be really off. And that's something that we see a lot in websites. When we look at them, they're trying to talk to everyone. They're not trying to talk to one specific person and solve one specific problem for that person with one specific product. And when you do that, when you try to be all things to all people, you end up selling to nobody, as the classic saying goes. So today we want to touch on the importance of brand strategy and why you need what a brand strategy is, kind of what some of the components of that is, I suppose, and how that kind of shows up when you don't have one in your business, and what the benefits and how it shows up when you do have one, because it's something that we, particularly recently, for some reason, we've been talking to quite a few clients. It's something we see a lot about. My sales are down, or I'm not selling as many units as I want to. I'm sending all this traffic to my website, and my bounce rate's 80%. There's stuff like that are kind of some classic examples. Paul, what are some other examples of how does this look tangibly? Bounce rate's a massive one when you can sort of tell people like your traffic's really good and they're coming to your website, and a big bounce rate means that they get there and they're like, well, this isn't what I expected for whatever reason. That's a big sign. And then like basic stuff like not having H1, H2 tags, not having headlines and sub headlines, that I immediately get like, what's in it for me? Like I'm here on your website. What am I going to get from this experience? What are some other ways do you reckon that this kind of shows up tangibly on a website or in marketing campaigns that people can, if they're trying to kind of triage their business and kind of give it a bit of an audit? What's some stuff they could look at to go, well, I need a more strategic approach to what I'm doing.
Yeah. So like a good, you now like know all of it anyway, but good examples would literally be, and maybe if I backtrack a bit as well, like when we talk about brand strategy, right? The whole point of that is who do I speak to? How do I speak to them? What kind of messaging do I send them? How old are they? What are they interested in? Blah, 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 blah. And again, and I'm just reaffirming what you said, some people either get it right because they've planned it and they've got it right. Some people get it right because they fluke it. Some people get it terribly wrong and just their business never grows. So we'll talk about the three kind of instances in that space, right? So you'll have a company like Red Bull, and they're like, we make energy drinks for extreme athletes. You know what I mean? So it's like if you are into mountain biking, or you're into motocross, or you're into Formula One, or you're into blah blah blah, and you want more energy, we've got a drink for you. And everyone's like, yeah, that's me. They talk to me. I want to buy their shit. You know what I mean? Then we've got, then you'll have a company that, again, it's, say, a brand like Snow Teeth Whitening. I don't know if you've ever heard of Snow Teeth Whitening, but they're like a 9-figure teeth whitening business, right? So it's literally you get kind of like a mouth guardy thing, and you put it in, and it makes your teeth white. So again, they could have, I highly doubt it, but they could have fluked it. If you have teeth and you want white teeth, this is the product for you, right? But then you start getting down into different kind of levels in brand strategy, and it's like, so for example, we've done a bit of work with one of our clients recently, and they sell cooktops, and they're they're like, okay, we're going to sell cooktops to everybody. We're like, you don't really, like, you actually, your strategy to market your brand is to actually go after, like, the Asian and the Indian and the, those kind of cultural people who want to buy your cooktop. That's who you want to talk to. You don't actually want to talk to everybody. And then we got another customer, like, they sell armbands for kids. Shout out to the boys from crazyarms.com. They've got a brilliant product, right? They've got arm sleeves that protect you from getting cancer, and your wife, your kids, blah blah blah. But when you look at their website, you kind of like, one of the first things you see on there is like, they do golf sleeves, and they do like this. I'm like, well, I don't play golf, and I don't do this, and I'm not female, and I don't look like that female, and I don't look like that. So we're going to work with them on this and be like, okay, yeah, I identify as a BMXer, a rollerblader, a fisherman, blah blah blah. So bringing that like that audience identification as part of your brand strategy as soon as you land on that website, as opposed to like what Chris said, kind of trying to speak to every single person, like, even like, we're probably guilty of this a bit ourselves. We're like, hey, we're Insiteful. We help business owners, and we help you with your marketing, blah, 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 blah. So as you get to know us more, and as you get to go through our like content on our website, it becomes more apparent. Like, actually, so you work with 7-figure business owners, and you work with medical companies and accountants and butchers and e-com brands that sell pet stuff and kids stuff and blah blah blah. So that all forms part of our actual brand strategy as well. Who we're speaking to, how are we speaking to them, what are we saying to them, what pain points are we agitating for them. And again, like Chris said, so many people just get it really wrong. And if you get it wrong, like, you're never really your business is never gonna go to where it needs to really,
so it becomes almost a 50-50, right? Someone may or may not buy.
Yeah,
because they've got to your website and like, well, I kind of still want the product, so I'll buy it. Yeah. Instead of getting there and go, this is for me. Like, this is 100% talking to me. I have to buy this product because it's literally designed for me. There's not even a question. Everything about this speaks to me, resonates, looks like me, solves my problems, touches on all my pain points, fixes everything I could possibly fix, and it's at a decent price. Like, it's for me. And that particular client, we had a similar conversation. It's like, if I hit your website and I'm looking at that product, is it just another product, or is it designed for me? Like, do I see that? And I'm like, that is made, literally, you've made that for me, and I get that from your presence, from your marketing, from every touch point I have with your business. That product is specifically designed with me in mind. That's really what you want to get to with whatever your business is. And your marketing needs to give that sense of, this is literally designed for me right now at this time, rather than this is for general people, but I kind of want a product like this. It's a big distinction, and it makes a massive impact on conversion rate and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I just want to add something in, and this is really the point. Like, if you take one thing away from this whole episode, is that a lot of people, their whole focus, right, in any business they've got, it's all about, how much can I acquire a customer for? What ad channel should I do? Should I do SEO? Should I do Facebook? Should I do content marketing? Should I be on TikTok? Should I blah blah blah? They're all so heavily focused around that, right? And they're pushing all this traffic into their websites, which, again, 90% of the people we talk to have fucking shit websites, right? So we'll talk about that on another episode. But before you even get to the website, you can have a crappy looking website, but if you at least done a brand strategy and your crappy looking website communicates properly, like, you can still sell a lot of stuff, right? Like, if you look at the Berkshire whatever Warren Buffett's website is, worst website ever. But like you go there and he probably says like, we work with very, very, very high worth net individuals, blah, 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 blah. If that's you, talk to us, So like he communicates really effectively who he talks to. So, and again, just to get, I really want to hammer home this point is, so I guess, so many people are testing and testing and testing and testing with ad traffic and optimization and different agencies and blah, 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 blah. And they're all sending all this traffic to their website when if they actually stopped that for a while and nailed their brand strategy and really got their messaging tight, really got their communication strategy tight, nailed who they're speaking with. So when you land on the website, you're like Chris said, that's me. The urgency that this website is conveying to me is important. The status that this website is conveying to me is important. When I say status, I mean things like, you might go to an e-com brand, one e-com brand over another because you're like, I feel like my status as a person is going to improve by actually purchasing this brand as opposed to that brand. So a lot of this stuff comes out by doing a really, really good brand strategy. And that can apply to any brand. It can apply to someone selling a $20 widget. It can apply to someone selling $300 dress. It can apply to someone selling a $50,000 healthcare product because, people want to improve their status. They want to look better to their friends, their colleagues, blah, 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 blah. So bringing that back to brand strategy. And again, most people actually get that really wrong. And like if I use, like our client that does cooktops, they sell a brilliant product, and we're just tweaking a little bit to help them sell it to, their perfect kind of customer, because then, that customer, that Asian family talks to the other Asian family. We've got this amazing cooktop, They're like, do you have one? They go, no, we've got the bloody Westinghouse crap. You know what I mean? Like, oh, everyone's got a Westinghouse, Yeah, but like this is designed for you, mate. You got to be able to cook better, cook
designed
harder,
for
cook
the
faster.
way you cook. It's designed for literally designed for you and your lifestyle and how you cook.
Yeah, exactly. It's built for them. Same with our friends at Crazy Arms. It's like, you care about your children, right? Yeah, you don't want your kids getting skin cancer. You don't want your wife getting, she's pasty. She doesn't go outside. Every time she goes outside, she's burnt. She's a redhead. They get burned like in 3 minutes. Use this product. It's actually going to save her life. Like all this stuff though, it comes out in your brand strategy. It doesn't just come out in the case of, here's the product. It's on my website. This is it. It's made out of this. We'll give you free shipping. We'll give you that. Blah blah blah. That's not what people want to hear. They want. And again, like Chris introduced me to the whole brand strategy. I didn't even really know what it was. Previously in all my other businesses, I'd fluked it. Somehow I'd fluked it for like, 20 years, and it worked for me. You know what I mean? I could figure it out. But like now that Chris has really nailed how to do this, the difference that it can make to companies is phenomenal. I mean, we did this for another client, Busy Books. So she was kind of, now she knows exactly who she wants to sell to. She knows who she wants to talk to. Her customers know it's a premium product. It costs a bit of money, but like if you do this, it's way better than the kind of stuff you're going to find at, Target and blah, 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 and pretty much everywhere else online. Like it's just a brilliant product. And now her website actually conveys that, she's selling more product, like she's getting more customers, she's getting great reviews, but we had to do that piece of work, and then we had to go and build her a new website, and then it's all like it's going great for her now. So I guess I hope I made my point about don't stop, just don't necessarily pause all the other stuff you're doing, but work on this strategy stuff. Like it's a constantly evolving thing. And I'll go down another rabbit hole here, right? But a lot of people don't think about things like conversion rate optimization and brand strategy optimization, and they think about search engine optimization. So they're optimizing their stuff for the search engines. Let's build backlinks and let's make our title tags better, and or ad optimization. Let's get our cost per click cheaper, and let's get our cost per everything else cheaper. But again, funnel it all back to the site. And then, if you're not improving the conversion, and you improve the conversion of your site by, you know, things like speed and things like the messaging. Surprise, where does things like the messaging come from? Messaging comes from brand strategies, you know,
Better
having a better
targeting.
communication strategy. So,
Yeah, and the sort of the flip side, I know we talked about, you know, you send all this traffic to the website's got to say the right thing. But on the flip side of that, you could have a perfect website that says the right things, but you're sending the wrong traffic, right? Because you're not clear on your target audience, and that's another big piece of the brand strategy is who are you targeting? What are those segments? Who actually wants to buy your product? Who has a challenge, a problem, a pain big enough and urgent enough that they need your product. All they need to do is find out about it, get directed to a place to buy it, and you become the solution. So if that part's wrong, again, trying to be all things to all people, not only are you driving bad traffic to potentially a good asset, you could be paying more money for keywords that aren't relevant because you're bidding on stuff that's not actually targeting the audience that you're wanting to target, or you're on completely the wrong platform. If you're in B2B and you're trying to run Facebook ads, you might be better to shift to LinkedIn, right? Because that's a B2B audience. But if you're not really clear on who you're trying to sell to and where that person hangs out and what they like and what they do and what their buying triggers are and who they follow and what demographics and psychographics and all that stuff, who is that person? Where do they hang out online? If they're hanging out on LinkedIn and you're running ads over on Facebook, you're not going to find that person. So you're spending good money after bad, literally targeting the wrong place. So there's sort of it's a 1-2 kind of situation there. You've got to have the right messaging once someone gets to the site or the app or the whatever that asset is, but you've also got to be sending the right traffic. And we talked about sort of acquisition costs there, but you might actually pay more to acquire a customer, but you're going to convert more because it's the exact right person. If I'm going to drive 1,000 people who 10% just happen to buy because it's the right product at the right price and that cost me 10 cents a click. If I pay $20 a click, but I send 100 people and 90 of them buy because the targeting's right? My lifetime value, my acquisition cost is more, but I'm making more sales because I'm sending the right people. And that person's going to hit the website and go, this is for me. This is my product. I see myself. I can see that this is going to somehow, as Paul was saying, add to my status. I'm buying this thing and I buy Apple because that says something about me. It says I'm an Apple person. I'm creative. I'm a Mac person, right? It says something about me. Paul's a Microsoft person. We won't hold that against him. But it says that even that it's like I'm a coder. I use Microsoft because I'm a techie. I'm a coder. I understand. The phone you buy, the things you buy, that's where that status comes from, right? That's what you're talking about with status, right?
Yeah.
We buy stuff because it says something about us. Like the books that I have here say something about what I'm interested in. The phone I have says something about me. The clothes I wear, the brands I wear, gives me some sort of a status to other people out there. They go, oh, okay, you're wearing that. That means you've got that chair. That chair is an expensive chair. That must mean that you're doing okay. Basic stuff like that. But that's where your products and where your brand really starts to get traction with people because they feel like they belong to your brand and that your brand belongs to them. But figuring that out, you'd be amazed the size of businesses, like multi-million dollar businesses that still haven't really figured this stuff out. And they've built that business because they've, as I said, maybe gotten lucky or it's partly right, but they could be doing a whole lot better if they actually narrowed their focus onto the people that actually want to buy that product because it solves an urgent problem that they're trying to fix right now.
Yeah, like I said as well, most people fluke it. Like there's so many companies out there that just somehow they fluke it. Again, like I used like Red Bull, and I'm sure they didn't fluke it, and I think people they didn't fluke it, but they fall into the right space, and because they've fallen into the right space, so it's like you hear about people who sell tea, and they sell tea to women, and the whole point of that tea is help you lose weight. At least there's a brand strategy there. Like, hey, you're overweight. Do you want to lose weight? We can sell you tea. If you don't like it, send it back. We'll give you your money back. It's $20. You'll have it in a couple of days, and there's a good chance you're going to lose 5 kilos. There's a starting brand strategy, right? So But
if I quickly want to lose 5 kilos and I like tea,
yeah,
I'm going to hit that website and go, perfect. Like, I love tea. I want to lose weight. I'm a woman. That's for me. I'll buy it.
Yeah. So
whereas if I'm a 25-year-old dude that wants to work out, that's not a solution for me.
no, yeah. So using that as an example though, like you can't apply that though to 90% of e-com businesses. So for example, we've got e-com businesses or any business, right? So we've got all these businesses sitting in our Shopify community. We've got like people in there that sell, like pet products to motorbike headlights to, to clothing to whatever, So
Jewelry,
as
all
a
sorts.
jewelry or something. Yeah. So it's like, okay, I sell jewelry. Who do you sell jewelry to? Women. How old? 40. Okay. Does it improve? How much does it cost? $30. Like, okay. So how does that improve their status, and how does someone identify more so with your brand than they do with the 6 billion other companies doing exactly what you're doing? And they're like, well, I'm a mum. I'm like, cool, okay, yeah. And our customers are a mum. Okay, that's part of your strategy, and it's homemade. Oh, our customers like homemade stuff. Oh, and it's limited. It's literally like we only make 10 of these. Like, okay, cool. Well, if that's important to someone, they can talk. And I'm a bit of a hippie. Okay, so I'm going to sell to people that are a bit hippies or the vegan or, those really environmental kind of people. Like,
Eco-conscious.
You start to form like a real strategy as opposed to I just sell jewelry to everybody, So even as you take that up to a whole other level, like I'm a healthcare company and it's like, okay, what do you do? Well, we sell ceiling hoists. Like, okay, to who? To aged care. Like, okay, but what's your point of difference? Because there's other companies that do the same thing that you're doing. Yeah, like, well, we have a 2-hour turnaround time. If anything goes wrong with that product whatsoever, we'll fix that within 2 hours, 1 hour, even 1 hour. Actually, we can be there in an hour. And we actually build these products ourselves. We're leading, we're leading the race. We're setting the benchmark for this. And you go, okay, cool. I like that. You've got quick turnaround time. Your pricing's not the cheapest. I expect you're not the cheapest because, the service level that you actually offer us, you're like, okay, fantastic. But then even from that, you need to start layering more strategic direction in your comms.
Is it global? Is it just Victoria? Is it Melbourne? Is it a suburb? Like, location, geography can be a way to narrow it down, run selling to everyone. We find, and this is kind of similar. We're going back to the cooktop business. If you look at your past sales and you go, literally, who's buying? And we might find that literally all of our sales come from this one area or this certain type of demographic or this certain type of income bracket, right? There's going to be certain consistencies or patterns that you recognize in the people who buy. And it might be, well, everyone that's ever bought our product comes from these 3 suburbs, but we're not actually targeting those 3 suburbs. We're targeting Australia. Well, how about we just narrow all our campaigns to those 3 suburbs and put all our money and funnel our money into campaigns that just speak to those people and talk to them about their suburb. And our content talks about, hey, we love living in Collingwood as well, and you live in Collingwood. Right now I'm connecting to that person, and that person, my brand, now speaks and resonates with them. So finding those little triggers, finding those little hidden sort of uniquenesses about your business, that's where a brand strategy sort of pulls that stuff out. We sort of ferret around in the back end of your business, ferret around in the psychographics and demographics of your audience, and we pull out, okay, well, these are the things, like these are some things that it's going to make your jewelry more distinct than your neighbor who's doing the same thing. And you can always find a way to sort of spin that stuff up into a really beautiful brand story that connects with that person. But you got to find that stuff first.
See, and I want to get clear about this as another important. I wish there was a way on a podcast that you can just go, this bit is what the bit you need to understand, right? So, when people go, far out, this is a 25-minute podcast where they're saying a lot of stuff on repeat, but I want to like these 3 takeaways, and maybe we'll do this moving forward. So at 24 minutes and 33 seconds, Paul said this, and I want you to listen to this. This is not just about niching down, right? So if you're like, I'm a marketing company and I just service butchers, you're like, that's not what a brand strategy is. Because I know a lot of people will be listening to this and go, oh, it's just a niche. I sell jewelry to women, or I sell ceiling hoists to aged care. It's much more than that. This starts at picking a niche, and then it starts at like, how do you effectively communicate at multiple levels and multiple layers and multiple messaging within that niche, and then within that niche there is so much more going on there that like you don't really, you won't see, probably because you're stuck in the weeds of your business as well. So for example, an accountant might come to us, and we've got an accountant at the moment, and there's a billion bloody accountants out there, do you know what I mean? And they're all old dudes, and they're all, they do the same shit. Come see me once a year, I'll do your tax return, catch you later, do you know what I mean? And then there's other accountants out there that are like, we'll put you on a retainer for $1,000 a month, we'll talk to you twice a month, and we'll actually help you manage stuff, right? But then there's other accountants out there, and I won't out our customer, because then other people go, oh, that's a brilliant idea, but he's found a real pocket that he's in, right? And now he's just blowing up his business all over Australia, because he's like, I'm 30, 35, I want to talk to these people, and I want to help them with this specific problem. And us as an agency, we've identified for that guy, we're like, mate, in this state there is like 600 people a month searching for that problem. In this state there's 300 over here, and you can solve that problem for that person using this message. This is how much it costs for you to solve that problem. And then all we need to do for him is go, okay, how much does it cost to acquire a customer? Okay, it costs us $50 to get a lead. Okay, how much do you convert? How often do you convert them? He's like, yep, okay, I convert like 1 in 10, $500, and they pay me $5,000 a year. Like, mate, you've got such a super profitable business. You've first meeting, and then this done. You can scale this to the moon, and he's able to do that because we worked with him on the brand strategy, on the messaging, on the niche identification, on the websites, on the everything else he needs, and then like away you go, right? And to wrap this up, like this applies to so many businesses, but everyone's kind of going.
Business.
Every
applies
business.
to every business.
There would have to be some businesses out there that this doesn't apply to. I'm rapidly like thinking. I'm trying to get to a really low level.
Manufacturing or something, where
Like
maybe more commoditized businesses, perhaps.
But I was, I'm trying to go, what about some dude who cuts people's grass? And I'm like, no, because this applies to them, Like it can just be like,
whose grass do they cut? Why do they want it cut? What time are they available for it to be cut? Are they busy?
Yeah.
Like there's strategy there, right?
Yeah, it's even like I actually only cut grass for like older ladies, because 60-plus-year-old ladies, they'll pay me $50 to cut their grass instead of the dude gets paid $20, and they pay on time, and they're a better customer, and they're lovely, and every time I rock up their house they give me scones, and it's like, cool, bitch, brand strategy. You know what I mean? I make like $5,000 a month. That's all I want to make. I deal with a great customer. Again, brand strategy is who do you want to deal with? Don't deal with dickheads. You can put that in your brand strategy, so your copy doesn't talk to the fucking annoying people. So we could probably talk about this for hours. I hope that I've made my point though. And if anyone is like wants to have a chat with us about how we can really nail this for you, you know where we are. There's no sales pitch on this. I think a few people will be able to go, I've got some great ideas anyway. Take those great ideas, bring it to us, and then we'll take it to another level. Do you have anything else you want to probably add to that to kind of round it out a bit?
No, I think you've said a lot of stuff. So one thing that we do say to clients around this topic is that brand strategy, it's one of those things that can feel a bit like a soft skill or a bit kind of esoteric or intangible. But I hope that you've gotten that when you get this intangible stuff right, your tangible stuff becomes much more accelerated, much more powerful. So when you know who you're targeting, you know what they want, and you can solve it, and you know how to tell them that you can do that, your ad costs come down, your lifetime value goes up, you get more customers, right? They stay with you longer, you sell more units, your business grows. So your tangible stuff comes out of getting this more intangible stuff right. And I think because it's intangible, people skip it. Like I said, they get lucky, they've got a good product, the product somewhat sells itself to a certain degree, But if you get this intangible stuff right and you get the brand strategic stuff right, it's like pouring gasoline on that fire. Suddenly, instead of doing a little bit of volume, your volume goes up, your business grows, you're working with better customers, they stay with you longer, all that kind of good stuff. So that's the importance of this stuff. I know it can feel a bit like, oh, I don't really need brand, I'm good to go. But getting it right accelerates everything else. It's one of those triggers in a business that when you get this stuff right, it blows everything else up.
Yeah. So there's one thing, whether it's my higher consciousness or whatever's going, there's a lot of people out there that are going to be like, that Chris guy's really smart, and I kind of get what he's saying, but I'm not sure. And I'm often like that when Chris and I talk. I mean, we're obviously business partners, and I was like, he's too smart. Anyway, but I think what he's trying to say is ultimately, for the people that are not as bright as Chris, is it's going to help immensely that you just that you really are talking to the right person, right? So just really, my takeaway from what he said is you're talking to the right person. And then for some reason in my head, I've got a bit of a dating analogy. Like, you don't go out and just kind of speak to every different race and every different nationality and every different kind of size and different kind of socioeconomic status. Like, you're like, I want a blonde girl that looks like this, that kind of like has these hobbies and, wants to have kids and wants to get married and blah, blah, blah. And it's the same kind of thing that you want to do here. You want to have, that's my dating, that's my that's my strategy. List. You're trying to find a partner. Do you know what I mean? So exactly the same thing comes here. Is like, that's how you want, who are you dating that you want to buy your product. So,
and then you would dress a certain way, right? You would show up to that date dressed accordingly. If she's super sporty and she's a yoga chick, and that's you might show up in a nice tracksuit or something. If she's a high-end exec, you're going to show up suited and booted, right? So your brand, your personal brand, is going to reflect who you're trying to speak to. So I think it's actually a really good analogy. So you're going to show up in the right way to attract that person because that's what you want. That's exactly what you get with the brand strategy. Your business shows up the right way to attract and magnetize that person that you want to work with.
Yeah. And then the flow on from that is that, once you start nailing that for the,
no, we're not talking dating anymore, right? We've moved on.
No, we're not. No, we're not. Okay. No, but I might go back to that. Yeah.
We don't want to get this video banned on YouTube. Once you've nailed your date,
yeah. Oh no, we won't say that. So, but once you've got that, and you've got this is when stuff starts to get layered. So you get like a tribe coming through you. Do you know what I mean? And you start building a community around your brand, and so if I used my previous business, Warcom, I'm like, I sold modems to people who broadband modems to people that want to have broadband, and I sold the fastest ones, the best ones, the most reliable ones to nerds and geeks my age, blah blah blah, and it just become known that I go there because I went there. They had exactly what I want. I had a great experience, and then here comes the hordes of people, right? So again, same thing. Do that. Get your brand strategy right, and then get that into your website. So exactly what Chris says, it shows up how it should be showing up, and then off we go to the moon. You'll have an amazing business. So anyway, I hope everyone's got a lot of value out of this episode. This was meant to be a 10-minute episode, but went for 33 minutes. So
we'll cut it into 3 episodes. We'll try maybe on YouTube. We'll try we'll put some chapters or something in there so you can click through to the good stuff.
Yeah, the point bits. Yeah, cool. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Catch you on the next one, guys. We won't hold you any longer. See you around. See you on the next one.